Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive demographic shift happening right now in the heart of the Himalayas. Nepal is experiencing an unprecedented wave of youth outmigration. You see, for many families, sending a young person abroad for work or study is no longer just an exception. It's become a fundamental survival strategy. So, let's dive into the data together to figure out, is Nepal losing its brightest minds to a brain drain, or can this massive global movement somehow be leveraged into a brain gain?
Here's how we're breaking this down today. First, the scale of the great youth exodus. Then, why exactly they're leaving. We'll weigh the pros of remittances against the cons of a drained nation, and finally, look at some real solutions for the future.
Part 1. The Great Youth Exodus, the scale of the phenomenon.
The sheer scale of this is frankly jaw-dropping. Look at the numbers from the Nepal Rashtra Bank and the World Bank. In 2023, inward remittances hit over $11 billion. In local currency, that's roughly 1.72 trillion Nepalese rupees. To put that into perspective, this money makes up roughly 27 to 29% of the country's entire gross domestic product. That single income stream actually surpasses the total inflow from official development assistance and foreign direct investment combined. It is literally a massive economic pillar.
But beyond the money, the human cost is simply staggering. We're talking about over 2.5 million Nepalese leaving in just the last 3 years alone. Think about that. A massive chunk of the energetic, highly productive youth population is packing up. For workers, it's a heavily male-dominated exodus to places like Malaysia, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. For students, the destinations shift a bit, primarily to Japan, Australia, and Canada.
Section 2. Why are they leaving? The push and pull factors.
So, what's actually driving this? Well, it's a powerful combination of push and pull factors. At home, you've got struggling agriculture, high unemployment, and incredibly stagnant wages. In fact, research shows that salaried workers in Nepal have essentially seen zero real wage growth in recent years. Then you look at the pull factors. Employers globally value foreign degrees, and countries like Australia and Canada offer highly attractive post-study work permits and clear pathways to permanent residency. A foreign degree has basically become a socially acceptable, fully legal pathway to just settle abroad, especially when per capita income in rural and hilly regions is so low.
And when you track the government and World Bank data, the financial reward for leaving becomes painfully clear. It just steadily compounds. From $6.73 billion back in 2015, climbing past $9 billion in 2022 to well over $11 billion today. The economic incentive is undeniable. And as social networks grow, meaning as more people have family members abroad to help them move, this migration just naturally accelerates.
Part 3. The pros. Remittances and growth. This brings us to the great debate. Does the immense wealth gained from remittances and the new skills acquired abroad actually outweigh the deep social and structural costs of a drained domestic workforce? Well, let's break down the positives first.
The influx of billions of dollars directly into Nepalese households has fundamentally changed the country. According to World Bank figures, extreme poverty plummeted from almost 70% down to just 25% in the last 15 years. That's an incredible shift. Furthermore, with so many men away, the ongoing process of women's empowerment has sped up dramatically. Women are now taking the lead in household and community decisions. This increased control is actually cited as a key factor in the rapid improvement of maternal health, which has miraculously halved maternal mortality in the last 2 decades. Plus, these young migrants are gaining real global exposure, confidence, and modern skills.
But we must flip the coin. Section 4. The cons. A drained nation.
You see, domestic productivity is under severe threat. The agricultural sector, which has historically been the backbone of the rural economy, is facing massive labor shortages. Yields are dropping in some areas, and the heavy physical burden of farming is shifting squarely onto the shoulders of the elderly and the women left behind. And strangely enough, studies show that remittance-receiving households are often failing to invest their new income into agricultural improvements to offset these labor losses.
And the human cost stretches way beyond economics. In some Nepalese villages, up to 90% of the young men have left. 90%. The demographic imbalance is so extreme it has basically created ghost villages. There's this startling anecdote from the Nepalese media that highlights this perfectly. In one village, there literally were not enough men left to carry a coffin for a funeral. This meant the women had to carry it, something completely unheard of, as women traditionally don't even attend funerals there. Add to this the rising divorce rates, the severe emotional struggles of homesickness, and the higher health risks among the migrating populations, and you see a really heavy toll.
Section 5. Solutions for the future.
So the big question? How does Nepal manage this forced migration and turn a permanent brain drain into a manageable brain gain? The government clearly recognizes the risk of failing to provide productive employment for its youth. First, they absolutely have to address the root cause by generating domestic jobs and raising per capita income. Second, agriculture needs to become a profitable career again through serious investment in agribusiness. Third, the quality of education has to rise so students don't feel forced to leave. But most critically, there need to be robust systems to help returning workers reintegrate into the local labor market, allowing them to invest their newly acquired global skills and capital right back into their home communities.
I want to leave you with this provocative thought to conclude our explainer today. The push for a better life is a fundamental human drive, and the wealth brought back has undeniably modernized parts of Nepal. But can structured, targeted government policies successfully call a nation's youth back home to build their own economy? Or has the globalized world simply changed the borders of opportunity forever?
Welcome.